Commission members, I'm going to do a roll call for the record. Please just acknowledge by saying here or yes. Jay Bombara,
Here.
Jim Calciano,
Here.
Dorothy Haviland,
Here.
Elizabeth Gemsky,
Here.
John Renahan,
Here.
and Ted Sanford.
Here.
Wonderful. All right, Jay, it's all yours. Ready to go on.
Okay, so we will open the Town of Farmington Historic District Commission meeting Tuesday, October 20th at 4 p.m. And we'll jump right into our agenda. This is a Zoom call. As I've said before, for those who have been on it, what I'll try to do as we do these public hearings is we'll, as always, ask the applicant to first present. Obviously, identify yourself and an address, anybody who's about to speak. Who's not a commission member, and you can present, and then we will, I will call the commissioners, not in any particular order, to see if they have any questions or comments. Then we'll ask for public comment, and then if necessary, obviously follow up, etc. This hopefully will keep it a fairly orderly and not, and at least not necessarily quick, but efficient way to handle this, the fact that we are on Zoom and it's hard to read body language and to have a conversation. So with that, I will ask the Secretary of the Commission, Calciano, to read the notice of the first public hearing.
Jack Kemper, application for temporary certificate of appropriateness for addition to the east and south of home at 17 Tunxus Street.
Okay, Jack, if you're there, I know we know you, but please identify yourself for the record, and if you would like to present the application.
I might be muted. I can't.
No, we hear you.
We're all set, Jack.
Then good. Jack Kemper, Kemper Associates Architects, here in Farmington. We were here last month. Jeff Weiner, the homeowner. We came for an informal review a month ago, and we have not changed the plans. We didn't feel we got any direction to do that. I made just per the requirements for submission, a 20th scale site plan, which Shannon has now, and a list of materials. The drawings have not changed. The design has not changed. Thank you for putting that. I can't access my computer with this on here. I don't know why that is, but that's neither here nor there. So the list of the materials, we're basically matching existing in shorthand. It's wood siding, it's wood trim. We're really matching roof pitches, fascia details, windows, everything to what's existing. And then we can show for, I think a couple of you haven't seen the plan, but what we are looking to do is to add a master bedroom and a living room to the east and south of the existing house. The house has a very large lot. It's probably a double lot, so we have plenty of room to do that. As the house exists, it sets in front of the front setback, so we have, just to stay legal, we're just keeping our addition behind the front setback, and I think that helps us. It's designed to make the existing house the most important feature of the lot, and we actually have broken it up into a couple pieces, side to side and front to back, where you can read the bedroom on the east elevation, the bedroom space and the living room space as separate roof lines. The same on the front with the master bath and the bedroom as separate roof lines. So I think that's all we have to say, and we're happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you, Jack. And this is only, I think, in the order of how I wrote down the names. Jim Calciano, do you have any questions or comments?
Well, even though I was on some of that Zoom call last week, I didn't get all the particulars. The voice was not coming through. So what are the materials for the siding, I recall?
Yeah, Shannon, if you want to look at, it's wood siding. It's wood siding, Jim.
Wood siding, okay.
Clapboard.
Fibrous, okay, I see it, right, okay. Yes, and I recall the Harvey windows, I remember talking about that.
Yes.
Foundation was concrete. Yeah, no, this looks like it's okay to me.
Liz, do you have anything?
Nope, thank you.
Dorothy?
Looks good.
Ted?
No questions.
John?
Nope.
Okay, is there anybody else on the call, public or otherwise for that matter, who wishes to ask a question or make a comment regarding this application? Okay, hearing none. Can I get a motion from one of the commissioners to grant a temporary certificate of appropriateness in accordance with the application as submitted?
So moved.
Seconded.
Okay, we have a motion, Dorothy, and a second, Liz. Thank you. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Or raise your hand. I guess you do have to say aye. I heard ayes. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, you're all set. Jack,
Thank you, Jay.
thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you, Shannon. Thank you,
Good luck.
everyone.
You're welcome.
Okay, bye-bye. We can leave, right?
Yes, you can.
girls.
Oh,
You're all
okay. Have a good day, everybody.
Bye, Jack.
Bye-bye.
Okay, with that, we'll move to the second public hearing. Jim, if you could read that.
As soon as it comes up,
Oh,
Is it not back? Hang on.
I know Shannon's good at that.
All right, here we go.
First Church of Christ Congregational application for temporary certificate of appropriateness to install temporary sign frame and prayer box at 75 Main Street.
okay. There's somebody here on behalf of the church. If you could identify
Yes, hi.
yourself.
I'm Biff Scheckinger. I'm a licensed landscape architect in the state of Connecticut and a member of First Church, and I'm the applicant. You probably have seen the temporary sign frame already. It used to be a PVC frame, and we made it out of cedar posts with, we painted gloss white with a black gloss ornamental post caps on it to replace it. And it will be, whenever we remove the temporary sign, which we apply for, we will remove the frame as well for agreement with the town. And the prayer box is feet. It's on a 4-post. The post and the, as you can see, we are going to move it back a little bit so it stays on the thing. But there's, let's see, there's the other part. There we go. And I sent photos of this. The post is under 4 feet. Or at the post top, again, we're going to use we use a black high gloss for the writing surface, which is the top, the cap of the post, as well as the post and the post ornamental post cap mirrors that used for the temporary sign frame, so they'll look consistent. And I sent photographs yesterday of the box. It would go out there. Did you get those, Shannon?
I did. I'm just looking because they're a different file.
I responded back to your email and sent you some
I know.
photos.
Yep, you did.
And there it is.
There's the sign.
Yeah.
And that's the
Yeah, the difference on this is there's a black doorknob, a glossy black doorknob on the opposite door, because that's the door you open and take out the prayer card, and then there's a slot above the left-hand side that you slide underneath the writing surface and put it in there, and then they take it out weekly for the prayer notifications and part of our service. That section of our service where we offer prayers for causes and personal situations. And if you go to one more over, Shannon, they'll see the scale of it from the side too. It's roughly 14 inches at the highest part, 12. It's only 11 wide. It's 14 wide across, 12 high, I'm sorry, on the back end, 11 on the front end, or 10 and a half, and It's 14 across the front. And it was made by Santa's elves because they were getting ready for Christmas, but we got an order in early, so.
Okay. Anything else you need to share with us, Beth, or is that pretty much
It
sum it
is
up?
wheelchair, it will be mounted as wheelchair accessible as well. That's why it's going to be adjacent to one, right off of our bituminous pavement.
Okay,
And that's all.
so there's the location here right in front of your existing meeting
at the-
house sign.
Yeah, at the butt end of the existing sign, we're going to move it inland a little bit more, but we like the fact that there's a sidewalk right there.
Sure. Yeah, as long as we discussed yesterday.
Yep,
the
as long as it's
entire-
off the, yep, I got it.
Has to be on the property, so, yep.
And it's
So-
actually, there's a little, I guess you call it public exchange library box right across the street at the fire station. And this is no bigger than that, so.
I was going to ask exactly that, so I can get a sense of the proportion. It's about the same size as the library box?
Exactly.
Headquarters? And then I'm not quite clear where, on my computer, apologies everybody
I
else.
sent you the photo, Shannon,
Yeah.
that sign.
But I'm just curious where it's going to be compared to the sign. Is it going to be in the front towards the road, or is it going to be on the side near the church?
No, it's the front towards the road.
Yeah.
Because that way it doesn't interfere with the actual sign faces that face north and south. The roads to the west.
And then I see that there's I guess it's still there. I walk by there all the time. You never notice things. So this kind of low stone wall, which really is just sort of making sure the gravel doesn't go anywhere. Is it going to be inside of that rectangular?
It would, yes, it would be, because then it won't overhang over. The post will be, but it'll, there you go. Yeah,
That's what I'm looking at. Thank you.
Yeah. Or we'll move one section, put the post right there, so that the property line runs right here. I don't know if my point, yeah, right there.
Yeah,
Thank you.
So you're not afraid that this box is going to get in the way of looking at the sign?
Not at all. It'll be at the butt end here. People see this sign from way back. By the time they get to where the prayer box is, they won't be able to actually see the face of the sign, because they're looking at the flat end, the thin end of the sign frame.
yeah. So the post is gonna be here in the prayer box, roughly here. So it's gonna be in line. The post of the prayer box will be in line with the column of the sign.
That's correct. Thanks for the clarification, Shannon.
No problem.
Okay. All right. So before, just so we can keep ourselves straight. So I have to admit, I missed, I only saw this sign. I didn't toggle down enough when I was going through these things before we got on the phone. So I hadn't noticed the prayer box part of this, but I do now. I'm not saying it's a problem. I just catching up. So thank you for explaining that. So there really are two different, we'll take them all at once, but make sure we get this done correctly. Two different applications. One is for the installation of the prayer box, and the other is for the temporary sign structure. Now, before I turn it over for the commissioners for questions, I will say I kind of scratch my head a little bit, because I hear that the frame is going to come down with the temporary sign. So I kind of wonder, well, does that mean it's really part of the sign and therefore not really a permanent improvement? But I think what's happened here, and it's a little because of some requests we received from some of the neighbors, or I shouldn't say neighbors, but just people in the area, as well as the town, as well as, I guess, my thinking, and you can tell me if I'm wrong. It seemed to us that, it was better not to have the PVC pipe. And I can't tell you for sure what exactly the regulations are on whether this is a permanent sign or not, but the church was good enough, and they are here, obviously, to come and say, could you approve this? So I guess you have to imagine that this could theoretically be permanently up. So to the extent the commissioners are thinking about whether they think it's appropriate, just keep that in mind, although the expectation is that it may come down from time to time.
As an agreement with the town, we're in the habit of taking it down when we take down the temporary sign, because we designed it that way. I actually had to hand, it seems a lot easier to take a square pole and put it into a round PVC sleeve until you have to do it with hand tools. But we did it, it works, it's easy, it slides in and out, and so we feel very comfortable. Also, we lowered it, I used a 6-foot base thing, it's 2 feet in the ground, so, or an 8-foot post. So this one is actually a little lower than the PVC one, and one person can easily put it together now. So we feel comfortable taking it in and out without any problem, you know, when there's not a sign being shown.
And to be clear, this is then for the sign holder, I guess, if you will, not the signs themselves.
Correct. I apply for every sign individually.
Okay. All right. So that's enough. Let's go. I'll go reverse order this time. So John Renahan, do you have any questions or comments on either?
Just to be clear, it's the same style cedar post for both.
Yeah, but we painted them paint them white, make them, you know, hey, I'm a Congregationalist. White and black work for me.
Thanks.
Ted,
I don't have any questions.
Dorothy?
It just looks awfully heavy. I don't get how you can easily take that down. How does that work?
It's very simple. They're only 4x4 posts.
So does it come apart, or does the
Oh
whole?
yeah, it's bolted together.
Okay, so it goes back together like a puzzle?
Exactly.
Okay, thank you.
Fortunately, a very simple puzzle. Otherwise, we'd all be in trouble.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, Liz
No, I don't have any questions.
and Jim.
The prayer box, the top, is that, what's that made out of? Just painted wood, or is it,
That's painted wood.
it is, okay, and its podium, so it's slanted, I see. Water stuff, yep,
And we put a
little cap,
half round at the bottom trim so that, you know, somebody can lean a piece of their prayer card on it and write it with a free hand. And
sure, nope, I like it, good, I'm okay with it.
Any other commissioners? Is there anybody else on the call that would like to make a comment on either of these two applications? Okay. Hearing no further discussion, may I have a motion? I hope it's okay. We'll do them both at the same time. If you want to list them out separately, Sandy, you can, but a motion to approve the two applications and grant a temporary certificate of appropriateness in accordance with the applications as submitted.
So moved,
Jim,
so moved.
do you have a second? Sandy, did you catch the second? I didn't catch who made it.
Second.
Oh,
All
Dorothy.
right. Well, Dorothy definitely. Okay.
All right.
Further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye and/or raising your hand, or why don't you say both? Aye.
Aye,
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, you're all set. Thank you.
thank you all. Have a good afternoon. Stay safe.
You too.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. I'll turn it back to Jim Calciano to read the third public hearing once it's back up on the, so we're up to Brian.
Brian Hendrickson and Jessica Lyon, application for a temporary certificate of appropriateness to install stockade fence from the corner of garage to house at 165 Main Street.
Okay, is Brian or Jessica or one of their associates here?
Yep, I'm here. Brian Hendrickson.
Okay.
Good to see you all. Hope you're
Thank
all
you.
okay, doing well.
Thank you. You want to go ahead and present what you guys are up to? That'd be great.
Sure. So what we're coming to you for approval for is the installment of a cedar cap 6-foot fence that would provide some much needed safety for the backyard area. So it would be approximately 5 or 6 panels that would be staggered down. You can kind of see that red line of where it would go from and to.
Okay.
And there's a gate, Brian, you had mentioned a gate. Is the gate's
Yeah.
located somewhere in this area? Is that
You-
correct?
You got it.
Okay.
And the gate would be obviously the same materials and be something that you purchase with the sections of fence so that it all matches.
Yes, the gate is very similar to the cedar cap.
Anything else you want to say before we turn it over? Okay.
Nope, all set.
Okay. All right. See how I can mix this up. I don't know if I can. Dorothy, do you have any comments or questions for the applicant?
I don't, no questions.
Liz,
No questions, thank you.
Ted,
You painting it or leaving it natural?
It'll be natural.
Okay. That's my only question.
Jim,
They've been before us before. They've done a great job. I think it's, you know, a nice addition to kind of tie the garage, which is lower than the house. So I think it's a great idea.
and John.
Nope.
So Brian, the only question I have is I'm kind of curious because driving by and obviously it's Main Street, so you don't go too slow, but there is quite a slope there. How do you, what's going to be the height difference between the highest section and the lowest section? Do you have any sense of that?
Yeah, so there's two things that we're still waiting on the safe dig report for the actual where the posts would go, but it would be approximately, again, 2 or 3 step downs. So I think the gradient or the height differential is a total of about I believe it's 6.5 feet. So you have like the two, it'd be a staggered step down.
Right. Each section will be at its own height then, or
there may be two
elevation.
Depending on like how wide they want to make the sections based on the dig report. They'll try to minimize the amount of step downs.
Right, but it could be as much as a whole panel, I guess, if you will, or section. I mean, I don't know what you can do. You can't necessarily get around that unless, I don't know, Ted or somebody else who might know more, Jim, more than me. There's probably not much you can do because of the grade. So
There isn't. Staggering is the best you can do.
Yep. Okay. Is there anybody on the call that would like to ask any other questions or comments of the applicant or the commission? Hearing none. Can I get a motion to approve the temporary certificate of appropriateness in accordance with the application as submitted? I guess we would say maybe we want a minute that along with a gate that is of matching quality and materials.
So moved.
Second,
We have a motion, we have a second. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all signify by saying aye. Aye.
aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, you're all set. Thank you, Brian.
Great. That'll be up pretty quick with the other side fence too. So now we got those two
Oh, good.
approved. You'll be seeing that up. And then once the sidewalk project goes, what you approved on the little stone wall, that'll get up as well. So
All right.
looking forward to all that. All right.
Busy.
Good to see
Thank you.
everybody. Thanks for everything. Have a great
Okay.
day.
You too. Okay, turning it back to Jim. Fourth item.
Mark Corba, application for temporary certificate of appropriateness to replace siding on detached garage at 40 Colton Street.
Okay, Mark or whoever wants to present.
Hi,
Please.
everyone. This is Grace Corba, representing for Main Street Properties, 40 Colton Street. We are here today to talk about the separate freestanding garage that's there on Colton Street. The picture there pardon me, on the top, that dark panel, it's like a grooved plywood currently. It is in need of repair. There are rotted boards there, and it's not aesthetically pleasing. Mark would like to put, install, we originally thought the pine, but it won't be that. He is proposing to install a hardy board plank, smooth. I think it's half by 6 inch smooth hardy board. And Sandra has a picture that's coming up here. And there it is. That won't be the color. I'm not sure what color it will be, but that's just showing the hardy board siding. And I think the horizontal will better match the house, but it just something needs to be done to the exterior of the garage. So it's the exterior siding on the freestanding garage. It does sit really quite a ways back. I suppose you can see the front from the street. But with the wood the way it is now, it's one of the last things that really needs to be done. So he's thinking hardy board, low maintenance, looks really aesthetically very nice. And with it being so far back, the hardy board can really mimic like a wood siding.
You doing anything with the garage doors?
That's a good question. I'm looking at that and I don't know. I don't know why we didn't include that here. I think he may just paint them.
Okay, obviously if you do need to do something, as you know, you'll have to come back and we'll have to take a look at that.
Right. But if he just paints them, then it's it's fine. Yeah.
Right.
I
We
think
don't,
he's just painting them.
and we don't have jurisdiction over color, so.
Colors, right, yeah.
Never an issue. Okay, so just to be clear before I ask questions or have commissioners ask questions. So your original application stated that you would be replacing it with Eastern Pine novelty siding, but you're now saying that you're not going to, that you amended your application for the hardy plank.
Correct.
And that is obviously, I can looking at the picture, but I'll say the obvious, it'll look like clapboard, obviously.
Correct.
Okay. Okay. Commissioners.
We thought the knotty pine, when we put some samples up against it, was just too different from the house. And we didn't feel it was like a good, it would maybe have looked a little choppy. So we're just going to stick with a nice clean look.
Well, I won't say what I think, but I do agree. John, do you have any questions or comments, John?
A question on the siding of the house currently and what that is and if that'll change. I can't remember.
We're not doing any, I don't recall. I'm sorry, I don't know. There is no application for anything for the house. So I'm pretty sure Mark is just painting it.
Okay, thanks.
Ted?
Thank you for taking the texture 111 off. That'll be a big improvement. The hardy is fine. I think that's appropriate.
Okay.
Okay. Dorothy?
Well, I'm totally not familiar with hardy board, but if Ted says it's appropriate, then I'm sure it is. So good.
Yeah, I think we've approved it before, but
yeah, we did.
Yeah,
I think
it's a very
Rick Shop
popular-
used it.
I think the house across this, actually the house right across the street from us has. It mimics wood really nicely. It's a very popular kind of substitute, but also a good quality product, so.
Okay, thank you.
okay. All right. Liz?
No questions for me, thank you.
Jim?
Yes, we've approved the hardy board also on the Miss Porter houses going up Mountain Road on the right. And I agree with Ted, anytime somebody gets rid of T111, it's a great day for America.
Yes.
No problem.
I won't add anything to that. I will say, I hadn't thought. John brings up a good question. I don't know if those are shakes on the house or not, but I think because of the the garage is not attached and it's separated, I'm not terribly concerned about that, but that's an interesting thought. Is there anybody else on the call who has any questions or comments for the applicant or for the commission?
I do. Loftus Justin here.
Hi, Loftus.
On the north side of our house, we have an addition that the Historic District Commission approved probably 8 years ago. I'm not sure. And we have, the addition has hardy plank on it. And there is no way you can distinguish that hardy plank from the clapboards. The hardy plank is a great improvement over the cedar clapboards. It holds paint, and you cannot tell that it is hardy plank. All you see is the paint. So I think it would be wrong-headed to have any objection to that, to the hardy plank.
Thank you, Loftus. That's a great endorsement. Good to know in the to get a report from the field to hear that's holding up. For someone like me, I know we have professionals who know that. Okay, so any other comments from the public or anyone? Okay, hearing none, do I have a motion that we grant a temporary certificate of appropriateness in accordance with the application as submitted?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I'll signify by saying aye. Aye. In favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. Thank you. Grace, you're all set.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye. And once again, we turn it back to Jim and Loftus, who's been the most patient person. Go ahead, Jim.
Loftus and Charbor Justin, application for temporary certificate of appropriateness to install generator at 103 Main. A little grammar.
I thought it would be much more fun to have it on Main Street. Frankly, it might slow the traffic down.
That's an idea. Okay, Loftus, if you, I know we know who you are and probably your address, but if you want to identify yourself and then
Yes.
tell us about your generator.
Loftus Justin, our property is at 103 Main Street, which is directly across the street from the field or the parking lot now next to St. Pat's Church to the north of the church. And we are asking to have installed a generator after the hurricane in the summer. We were out of power for nearly 5 days, and we've decided that in fact we might as well put this in. Now, directly to the east of the generator is an air conditioning unit that was approved by the HDC, I don't know, probably 5 years ago now. And this generator is going to be sitting quite close to it. If you look at the photograph, it's just beyond the bay that is hardly visible from Main Street. In fact, the generator would very nearly be invisible from the Main Street if no plantings were there. So it's 4 feet by 2 feet by 2 feet, not very big. It's 16 kilowatts. It's going to be a gas generator, and I hope not too noisy. In fact, Ken Griffin, who is doing the work, selling us the generator, maintains that these new generators are comparatively quiet. We shall see. But in any event, that's really the A to Z of the matter. It was even a question whether we needed to come to you in the first place because of it's not really being visible from Main Street. But here we are. I wonder if you have any questions.
Thank you, Loftus. Yeah, I do appreciate your coming here. I mean, it is always sometimes unclear as to whether or not you can actually see it or not, but sometimes there's bushes which theoretically could come down. So do appreciate your coming here, just so there's no issue for anybody later on. The only question I'll ask before I turn it over is, so the generator, is it going on the side closer to the street or on the side further from the street?
Further from the street. It's on the east. If you look very carefully, it's hard to see. There's a bay window, just a small bay window right there. The arrow is pointing at it. The generator is on the other side of the bay. It actually, by code, has to be 5 feet away from the nearest window, and that nearest window will be on the inside of the bay, the southeast front of the bay.
Okay. Yeah, that's gonna be hard to see. All right, with that, going through, one last time. Jim, do you have any questions or comments?
No, very common. We approve them everywhere. I guess the only thing I ever think about is that they're probably tested once a week and make the test period during the day, not in the middle of the night or late in the day. That's all.
Yeah, we actually have a choice about that. We can decide to have it tested once every 1 week or every 2 weeks, primarily for the battery. And so we'll probably do it just when people are going to bed. And I'm going to find out when you go to bed, Jim, and I'll put up a speaker. And
I won't hear it.
No, we thought we'd probably run it maybe once a week on a Saturday morning at 8 o'clock, something like that, when it's not going to bother anybody.
I'm fine.
Liz, do you have anything?
No.
Dorothy?
No, it's small, it's well hidden, it's perfect.
Ted?
No questions. Looks good to me.
John?
Nope.
Okay, is there anybody else on the call? I don't believe so, but at any rate, anybody have any other questions or comments? Hearing none, do I have a motion again to grant a temporary certificate of appropriateness in accordance with the application as submitted?
So moved.
Seconded.
I have a motion, I have a second. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, Loftus, you're all set. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Okay,
Stay well.
yes,
Bye-bye.
bye. Okay, some housekeeping matters. First, you adopt the 2021 meeting schedule. I've looked at it relatively carefully only because I put all the dates into my calendar. So they do all seem to be the correct Tuesdays, and they are what they are. So unless anybody wants to make a comment on them, could I get a motion that we approve the meeting schedule for 2021?
So moved.
Seconded.
I have a motion, I have a second. Further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you. The other housekeeping matter, approve the minutes of the September 15, 2020 meeting. I took a look at them and they seem fine to me. I didn't have any edits. Is there anybody that read them that wants to suggest a change or have a question? Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve the minutes as submitted?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion on the minutes? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? That carries. Couple of quick things I have, and then I'll ask Shannon to follow up with what she has, although maybe I'm going to step in on her territory. There was a meeting on the, I think most people are aware, or if you're not, now you will be. They are going to be doing a sidewalk project next year on Main Street from Route 4 to Highland Park. The goal is to have it on both sides of the road, 5 feet wide in accordance with the ADA. They will be concrete. They did hold an informational meeting this past Saturday in the parking lot, it was the parking lot of St. Patrick's Church. And there was about 25, I would say, homeowners and nosy neighbors like me there who don't live on Main Street. But the town, and again, it might be better to let Shannon talk but then again, she's not really involved in the project. So I should say actually CJ Thomas and Russ Arnold did most of the talking. Russ is overseeing the project. They are working on detailed plans. They are going to try and save every tree, and that is the plan. They will allow themselves to narrow the sidewalk where necessary in order to save trees or avoid issues there may be because it's just too narrow of an area. There were not yet detailed questions about that. If anybody has specific detailed concerns, they did ask that you alert Russ and make sure you point those out to them so that they can think about how to do that. They will not be putting sidewalks across the driveways, so they will run up to the driveways. Then you'll have the driveways and they'll continue on the other side. It was pointed out that in many places the sidewalks, they need to go at least 6 inches deep, I guess, for the base. But probably in a lot of places there's 2 or 3 layers of sidewalk, so they may not actually have to go much deeper. So hopefully some of the routes will not be as much of an issue. Hopefully none of them will, but it is possible. So that's, again, they won't be starting it. They haven't got bids yet even, but it wouldn't be something that doesn't start before next spring. But that's what I know. If anybody has any questions or comments, obviously I point this out because it is in historic areas. Oh, I should say that if they cross properties that are, let me back up. I think I was told by Kathy that even though they don't expect to be on any properties which are in the district, in other words, they're going to be on town property, that they do plan on coming to the historic district at least for an informational. And hopefully they hold to that. So other than that, I don't know if anybody has any questions or comments about that. And I think
the only thing I'd add, Jay, was just the questions about lighting, because there had been a lot of questions around the lighting. And so as part of phase 1, there won't be any lighting. But, if phase 2 goes forward, the solar lights would be, and again, no details have been shared yet, but similar to the solar lights in St. Patrick's Church parking lot.
Right, that is something to think about, and I appreciate that, John. That's a good point. The other sort of bigger impact that they're going to eventually be doing, it's not part of this. Phase 1 is strictly the sidewalks, we're told, is they are apparently doing something with the pocket park on Colton Street and Carrington, and that apparently will be significantly impacted. Whatever that means, I do not know, so don't ask me. I'm not aware that there's yet a plan that has been circulated, but if you're a fan of the intersection and or the park, you may want to keep an eye open for that. I think we all are. So I don't know what the plan is, but I think the reason it's going to be altered, and it's not going to be altered apparently with the sidewalk project, but it's going to be altered for purposes, I think, of traffic. And I'm not sure what the issue is there either, but I don't live there, so I wouldn't know. So a lot of FYIs, and if you're interested, just keep your eye out and ears up.
I'm gonna interrupt just briefly. Brian Connolly is on the phone, and Brian, you've raised your hand periodically. I promoted you to a panelist, so if you want to talk, you can. If you're all set, that's fine. I just wanted to acknowledge you in case you had something to add regarding the sidewalk before we moved on to something else.
Sure, thank you very much. I just wanted to compliment Jay on doing such a fine recap of what our meeting was and how fortunate we were to have so many people show up. And I just wanted to see if anyone had any questions for me as one of the members of the committee. But pretty much everything that Jay said is absolutely fact and how we're moving forward.
Yeah, so to be clear, and thank you, Brian. I do want to point out there is a committee. It's not the original Village Center committee that I think John Renahan is on, but this is a smaller committee. It's more of an expediting almost committee. I don't know, maybe you can disagree with that characterization, but it's mostly town council members and staff that's really trying to execute on some of the recommendations that came through the Village Center plans and exercises over the last couple of years.
Yes, absolutely. That's it. As John knows, because he was also a member of that committee as well, we had a number of very vocal and very interested Farmington citizens from the 1st District as a part of that commission. or that part of that committee, and we came up with some really nice recommendations which have been put forward. And what we as a smaller group are not looking at other components. The only one other component, as mentioned by John earlier, was a light, which is yet to be discussed by anyone, and that is something that they're going to look at down the road, and something I agree we should be reconvening our previous committee to take a look at anything new that we're thinking of adding to, especially something as important as that light, you know, or as the lighting, because that's a big component of the branding of our town. And to just all of a sudden say, oh, we want to do solar lights, which is a great idea, but let's see if it's even viable, and if that's what we want in the historic district. So that is yet to be determined, and that is not going to be determined by this small group of expediters, as you put it, which is pretty much what we're doing, taking what was already put into the plan and trying to execute it one piece at a time based on, you know, the funding that we were able to, you know, secure for this, which they did a great job securing funding, so we can start looking at how we can start doing the sidewalks in the most efficient manner. And Kathy and Russ and the rest of the town just presented how that was going to happen. And I hope that that was met with everyone's, answered everyone's concerns when we had that meeting. But certainly let me know if there are any other questions you have.
If I can just add briefly about the lighting, one thing to consider, Brian, and as you say, I first of all, I think that's great. I think you should go back to the original committee, because you're right, nobody ever just agreed on a design for the light. But the other part of the lighting is how many. I know I've talked to a lot of people, and I of course have my own personal view. You know, we don't want to light every X feet and just put lots of light poles up and down Main Street. One, I don't think it's necessary, and two, I think it's just going to take away from the architecture you see on the street. All you're going to notice is the poles, not the beautiful natural, organic built landscape and city streetscape that we have. So just a thought.
I couldn't agree more, and that's exactly why I think we need to have not an expediting committee, but a community committee talk about exactly that. What do we want and what is necessary before we start expediting anything? And I would be a big proponent, and I personally will make sure that that happens before any decisions about, you know, or about lighting or anything that has not been discussed earlier does get discussed by the town, not by a small group of expediters.
Thank you, Brian. Anybody else have questions for Brian about that or anything related? Shannon, do you have a report or things that you wanted to mention?
Yes, the only thing I wanted to update the commission regarding was the expansion study. So that was in with review with the state offices. It was heard at their October meeting. There were some edits done to satisfy Mary Doone's requests with respect to how the properties were characterized as part of being a standalone property or part of an expansion to the district. So worked and got all that to her prior to the October 7th meeting. I sent an email to her yesterday asking for an update, and she said she will have a letter to me shortly. That's the only update that I got. So we need that letter, and then we can start discussing about holding a public hearing for those member homes that want to join the district. So if it arrives shortly, my thought is perhaps we can hold our hearing for the Historic District Commission at the December meeting. I don't really want to do it in November because our clerk's office is a little at its limits with workload with respect to the election. They work hand in hand with the registrar's office with a lot of things with respect to the election, and certainly this year is it's more than usual for a variety of reasons. So but we should be in a position to hopefully hold our hearing in December. The clerk's involved because of some of the public notifications that are required and how it's written in the statutes that's taken care of. So
thank you.
As soon as I get the letter, then I'll forward it on to the commission.
Great. I just, for everybody, I don't know how close people have been following this or not, but of the properties, one of them actually had a change in ownership. So there is a possibility one of the properties will drop out because, as you will all may know, or you're going to know when I tell you, it is an opt-in system. So, there is no forcing anybody to put their property into the district. The former owner wanted in the district and started the process, and then decided to sell the property in the meantime, which it has sold, which is great. And we have a great new owner. But like anybody, they have a right to look at it and decide whether they think they want to join the district now or later or whatever. So I'm optimistic that we'll be okay, but don't be surprised if a property drops out. It's not for any necessarily regulatory reason, or have we done something to upset anybody? I hope. Does anybody have anything else they want to bring up before we adjourn? Doesn't sound like it. Okay. All right. Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everybody.